Hello fellow humans and welcome to the Madhouse. I'm Josh and today is Wednesday, so that means it's time for Top 5 Wednesday. Today's topic is your least favourite books in your favourite series. That is to say, the worst. Now, excuse me for drinking tea during this video, but I'm quite cold and I've only just started liking it. I feel like as a British person I have a lot of catching up to do, so who knows, maybe I'll start singing God Save the Queen and wearing Union Jack underwear. So without further ado, at number 5 there is The Silkworm by Robert Galbraith aka J.K. Rowling, and stick around for another Rowling book later on. The Silkworm is the second book in the Cormoran Shrike series, which is Rowling's, Galbraith's detective series. Cormoran Shrike is an amazing character. He's, well, I suppose you could say a non-magical Mad-Eye Moody, because he's only got one leg, he's a veteran of war, and he's always going on about constant vigilance. Not exactly, but kind of. But he's also quite nice and I like him. As with all of these books, they are about trying to solve a mystery, and it's a good book. I really enjoyed it. It's got some funny moments in it too, and some truly disturbing ones, as any good detective novel should. But for me it just lacks that luster, that magic of The Cuckoo's Calling and Career of Evil. That's the first and third books in the series, if you couldn't guess. I shouldn't judge so readily because I am in fact still reading Career of Evil very slowly on and off. That's why it's not on the Goodreads, because I've only ever sat down for it for maybe a couple of hours at a time and come back to it a month later. But what I have read so far, I am really enjoying, more so than I did this. At number 4 there is Scrivener's Moon by Philip Reeve. This is the third book, I think, in the Fever Gum series, which is a prequel to the amazing Mortal Engines series. Well, I have to say I love the entire series because I think it's a fantastic attempt at expanding a world we've already seen, but at a time shortly after the end of the world, rather than 1,000 years or so. So we get to see so much more, and it's exciting. Amazing to see the birth of the traction world, where London comes from. We know where London is, obviously, but how it came to be on wheels, or rather tracks. It's a fantastic book and I really like it, but the first two are much better because they serve as an exploration of technology and how society would develop post-apocalypse, and the rediscovery of old technology and discovery of new. You have the invention of the traction city in the first one, and the rediscovery of air travel in the second, specifically heavier than air travel, over 1,000 years before the majority of people rediscover it in the Mortal Engines series. But in this one, there's no real new discovery, there's no technology that's been found again. This is more of an exploration of how we might survive an apocalypse, and that's not what I was looking for. I say how we might survive, it's through genetic modification to extend our lifespans and make us more durable, which is fair enough, but that's not what I was looking for. I'm looking for the steampunk world of Mortal Engines. At number 3 we have Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. That is the fourth and final book in the Inheritance cycle, or as it's more colloquially known, the Aragon series. It is a great book in many ways, and a great series in that it introduced me to high fantasy, because I said before that I could not finish The Lord of the Rings. It's just not my cup of tea. I love the story as shown in the films, but the writing style of the books escapes me. The Inheritance cycle, and the other way around, there's only been one film of Aragon. I much preferred the books. They were fun, they were not particularly original. As I know now, having read a lot more high fantasy, it's recycled a lot of tropes and ideas without doing anything particularly original with them, except the dragons. But it's still fun. However, Inheritance, the final book in the series, was just underwhelming. It's the final showdown between good and evil. It's been hyped up so much, and then the solution is just so ridiculously simple and so disappointing. I'm not going to tell you what happens because, well, if you haven't read it, you'll be incredibly disappointed. It's fun and Neswada is amazing in that, as is Angela the herbalist. But any real developments that happen in the plot are utterly predictable. One can't help but feeling that the book was rushed, except that I knew, that it took at least 5 years. At number 2, and please don't hate me, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. Now, I love Harry Potter. I'm wearing my Slytherin badge now and my I solemnly swear I'm up to no good t-shirt. So you know how much I like it. But this book is not as good as the rest for me because the majority of them are, in a way, mystery books. The later ones, especially Deathly Hallows, become more geared towards adventure. But there is still mystery. Even in them, you're still trying to figure out what all the Horcruxes could be and where they could be especially. But Chamber of Secrets is just very disappointing because there are no real hints as to it. The clues are very limited. We know that it's something in the pipes. We know that Harry's been hearing voices that only he can hear. And we know there's a monster that's associated with Slytherin, so you can guess. But it's not as fun a mystery to follow as some of the other ones. Plus, I also have a personal objection to it because I am terrified of snakes. And, well, a basilisk like that, rather than the tiny little lizard things that are kind of cute, is just not good for me. And then, last but not least, at number 1, there is... Wait a minute, I'll just put the hat on and see if you can't guess. Who do you reckon that this book could be by? It is, of course, Sir Terry Pratchett and The Colour of Magic. This is the very first Discworld novel, and this is a complaint many fans of Discworld will share, I believe. Because, well, it's not so much a complaint, because it's still a fantastic book. It's one of the most excellent pieces of parody I've ever read. A parody of the tropes of the fantasy genre. So it's a good thing that I did read The Inheritance Cycle actually, so that I could truly understand some of the jokes that are in this. But it's not literary. Or rather, that's to say, it's not his best work. So Terry admitted this. He had said that he would like to go back and change it a little bit. He already tweaked The Carpet People, which he wrote when he was 17, and re-released it in 1997. And he said he would quite like to do that again to this because now, well, not now, but because when he was older he was a much better writer and he could have done a far better job. But he said that had he started, he would never have finished. There would be too many alterations and the text would be completely unrecognisable. It's fantastically funny, it is very clever, but it's just a parody. It has not evolved into the masterworks of satire that Sir Terry becomes capable of in his later works. It's fun, but it only works if you read it in conjunction with The Light Fantastic. That is to say, read this one and then The Light Fantastic straight afterwards, because this is mostly just a string of jokes and parody of fantasy tropes strung together with a smattering of plot, but very little. The Light Fantastic consolidates it into an actual single story with a plot running through it. So, or even by the second book, Sir Terry has gotten much better, but on its own it's not enough. So, that's it. Cheers. Bah, cold. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please click like, share and subscribe if you did. You get the picture, all of those things. The most important part of this is the comments, the bits that I really enjoy. Do you have any thoughts about any of these books? Do you agree with me? Do you think I should be skinned alive for my views on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets? Or, well, I'd quite like it if you didn't want to do that. Or do you have any books that you don't think are as good as the rest of the series? Let me know. Just a quick update for the Starving Artist series I've been doing. I say series, it's been 2 videos, a little vlog and then a quick recipe for cinnamon toast. Well, I have to say, I'm doing pretty well. I am not starving yet. I've had some pretty decent meals. Yesterday I had Eggs Benedict on crumpets rather than muffins because I don't like muffins as much as I like crumpets, and I don't have any muffins anyway. Plus, I've also been doing pretty well otherwise. Yesterday I made salmon pasta in a Mornay sauce with caramelised shallot. It's gorgeous stuff. I've still got some of the pasta left. Of course, I still plan to go along living on the £5 a week because I don't have any more money. Money is so hard to come by, isn't it? Especially when you've not been given any shifts at work for 6 weeks. I think I pissed them off by being ill. I'm sorry, I was suicidally depressed. What do you expect me to do? Come in while I'm vomiting? Well, fuck off. I'm not a big fan of Mackies at the moment. As always, be kind to yourself and to others. And be inspired. Tatty byes.